Hi, I'm Kelsey Zeiser. I'm a senior editor at Light Reading, and we're here at the Big 5G event in Austin. And I'm joined by Devika Bhattacharya with Verizon. Good to see you.
Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. Do you have any updates on what Verizon's doing in terms of product development around cloud and edge?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of exciting areas. We are launching multi-cloud, which allows our customers to be able to transfer workloads across multiple cloud providers. In the 5G space, we continue to see a lot of demand and market traction for our private wireless solutions as well as our edge compute solutions. In the fixed wireless access area, also, that's been a massive area of growth for us. A lot of new features and capabilities coming out there. So exciting times at Verizon.
Yeah. In the hybrid cloud space, what are some things that you're excited about in offering your enterprise customers?
So one of the things we are seeing is what we call cloud elasticity. So being able to run their workloads at the edge as well as on the far cloud. So we have customers who are doing computer vision applications where they do a lot of processing. So you need a lot of intensive processing which is done locally, as well as then being able to then use the far cloud, the regional cloud centers for reporting, anomalies, metadata, etc. So it's really interesting to see how workloads are not restricted to just one part of the cloud, but where it makes the most sense for their applications.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. And in computer vision is always a big focus area and a lot of interesting use cases there as well.
That's right, yeah, and across horizontal industries. So we're seeing computer vision applied in manufacturing, computer vision applied in transportation, computer vision applied in warehouses and in healthcare. So it's interesting to see applications get horizontal.
Yeah, I imagine especially with COVID, making sure people are wearing the proper protective equipment, and then manufacturing, that they've got their hard hats on and things like that as well.
That's right.
Yeah, and you also mentioned FWA. What are some new developments there? What are you looking forward to in that area?
Yeah, so with fixed wireless access, I think as we've mentioned before in other discussions we've had, it's just grown exponentially in the past year. So what we've seen is people are using it for primary access, not just backup access. And the bandwidths, with 5G and even LTE is significant enough for customers to run their business on it. So what we're starting to do now is provide more telemetry into the fixed wireless access connection, similar to what people had experienced with over the last 20 years with wired networks, to get that same kind of telemetry into wireless. Also give them analytics about performance, give them the ability to make changes as our customers are deploying fixed wireless access at scale. They need additional tools and automation to be able to configure and make changes at scale. So it's really hardening, what I consider hardening the service so that it makes it easy to consume and easy to consume at scale. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the things. The other area I wanted to mention that we've launched this year is embedded security. So wireless actually has more security than a lot of people assume it does, but now we are embedding firewalls and all the like content filtering and all of that in the network itself. So that actually helps small and medium business customers who don't have the security expertise to be able to invest in a lot of security products that surround the network, but now the security is built into the network, which is great.
Yeah, that's really important. As you mentioned, I think there's been a struggle to find the cybersecurity skill sets, find the people that can do that, especially as you mentioned for small businesses. So having that embedded is a real advantage. And I believe you're also doing some interesting work around generative AI. What's going on there?
Yeah, generative AI is fascinating. So as you know, companies like Verizon have been using what I call maybe that's just a term that I use in Verizon, or we use in Verizon, called like specialized AI or applied AI, which is AI for specific tasks, right? We've been doing that for years, right? Like network performance optimization, finding trends, demand gen, customer service related enhancements, context and those are specialized functions, a lot of data that's being trained, but finite tasks. Generative AI, it just opens, like a whole new area for us to work with. Now, we're looking at three areas. So one is just our infrastructure itself between our network, the secure network, the reliable network, to transport large amounts of data, which is what you need for generative AI, as well as our edge compute infrastructure to do inferencing on fine-tuned models. So that's an area that we think it's going to enable more growth in that space. But generative AI itself, it's going to change the way we work. And then it's also we can introduce new products. In terms of changing the way we work, you think about the complexity of large service providers. It's going to change the sales and sales engineering function. If we have a ChatGPT-like capability where you can ask, my customer's asking me for this, have we deployed this anywhere? Mm-hmm. Or, I have this idea. Has anybody else tried it? Has this design been used in any other customer? So you have all this data that's locked in people's laptops and silos. It'll open that all up. We can create training models. We can create marketing campaigns. There's so many things we can do. It's just, we're really looking into all of that internally. And externally, as we think about our products and being able to do inferencing, real time, right? So if you're getting a video stream and then you're able to do inferences, do transcription, do all of that in real time, as the data is streaming into our devices, it's really quite exciting. So, but what we are also looking at on the counter side of that is to make sure that there's data protections in place, that we're not violating privacy, because this is company information, sensitive information, that we fully understand, how the data is used, are the responses accurate? So that's the other side of it that we're also, balancing with all the new use cases that it's opening up for us.
Yeah, there's it's just such a broad world, I feel like, for generative AI in terms of what the different use cases are and all the possibilities of what you can do with that data that, we can finally unlock and really use in a lot of unique ways. And I imagine, it could be a managed service for enterprise customers.
That's right.
and helping them really utilize their data that they've been collecting.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think about our customers and could we look at their bills and redesign the service that's optimized for them, right? Could we look at their patterns, their emails to Verizon, and then redesigning? So there's so many things we can do on the fly that is quite exciting for us.
Yeah, definitely. And then just to wrap up, wanted to hear any highlights from your speaking on a panel about the service provider of 2030. Anything that you wanted to highlight from that?
Yeah, I'm always reluctant to predict. When I look back, like 10 years ago, like what we thought was going to happen sometimes doesn't happen and other things come up. But I think with 5G leading to 6G and with generative AI, the amount of data that our customers are going to use is going to only increase exponentially. So I think the data that we carry is an area that is orders of magnitude more than what we're doing today. So that's one area. The other thing that I think is with automation, with adaptive networks, today we do expose complexity to our customers. Like one other thing we speak about in the panel is whether you're outside, inside, you're on Wi-Fi or, macro. There's too much of that is exposed to our customers. I think over the next few years, there's going to be a lot of focus on just just removing that complexity. Like I say, it's like driving a car. You don't need to know, like, there's a lot of engineering in the car.
Yeah, there's a lot I don't know about what's going on in my car, but
you
I
don't
want it to
need
work.
Exactly. You just want it to work, and when there's a problem, check engine light, then you know what to do, but you don't need to understand everything about it. I think that's where service providers are going to go, where the network, it works for you.
Right.
It's there when you need it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to pre-build it. You don't have to do all of that, and it just works for you. I think that's what we are aiming towards, and hopefully that's where we'll be.
Yeah, I really like that analogy. And as cars are getting smarter, having different alerts for the driver can be similar to the telco network and what you can provide your enterprise customers. In my car, it gives me a rating of how well I drove.
Right.
Did I go too fast? What was the temperature setting? Can I adjust that? And,
Correct.
So I appreciate those alerts, but I don't need to know.
You don't need to know.
the
Like,
total
but a
inner
few
workings.
decades back, people would have to fix their car. They'd, tinker with the engine and, do a lot of other things. We almost, well, at least I, never do have to do that anymore because they've made it, so sort of self-sufficient that as a driver, you don't need to know the complexity. And I think that's where we'd want to be with networks as well.
Yeah. I'm sure the customer appreciates that too. Well, Devika, it's always great to see you. Thanks for joining me.
Great. Thank you for having me, Kelsey. It's always great to chat with you.